Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be addressing something that I've gotten in my comments a lot, and that is, Hunter, what is your dream 18 course? Now, I've been mulling this over. I've spent a couple days kind of going through the archives, and I have compiled together what my dream 18 would be, but I did add a little caveat to it. The rule that I made for myself is one hole per course, and it has to match the actual hole number. First hole of my dream course has to be a hole number 1 of a course, and my second hole has to be a hole number 2. I thought this would be an interesting way to spice it up. I've documented 100 courses on this channel, and I have played twice that amount, so I did my best, okay? I did my best to try to go through everything and pick out my 18. Now, there are 2 holes that are courses that I have not filmed, but I will pull some images from Udisc so you guys get the understanding of it. And then I will just kind of play my clips passively in the background, showcasing which hole I'm talking about. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting off with hole number 1, drum roll please. We are going with Lake Arvesta in Western Michigan. Now, Lake Arvesta is a newer course. I have not filmed it yet, but I will in the future. And hole 1 is very cool because you climb up this huge hill and you're overlooking everything, pretty much the entire course. There's a huge pond and it's safe all down the left side with a few baskets placed. Now, if you go for the whole thing, I believe it's a little over 500 feet of water carry, but you can throw wherever your heart desires. As long as you have a pretty stable disc and you release it straight, it should hyzer off to the left side. I think this is a great way to just set the tone. Gorgeous view. You could empty your bag if you want to, and it's fun for all skill levels. And with hole number 2, we're gonna go back to a recent video of mine, and that is Dundee. Now, Dundee had the best hole 2 I've ever experienced, and it is just that, the experience factor. You're throwing over this little creek. It's a big kind of washout from like a little dam. Beautiful rock formations, and then they have stepping stones that you literally walk over the little river. Fun little kind of tunnel shot, baskets tucked up on the hill there. Best hole 2. That was the easiest pick. That was first round draft pick. Number 2 going to Dundee. Hole number 3, I'm gonna go with the Seneca Championship course. Now, I think hole number 3 there is a lot of fun. It requires quite a bit of distance off the tee, beautiful wooded but fair fairway, and then as you kind of reach the bend, there's this huge divide with the basket right in front of you. So you can choose to kind of go with a wide hyzer and or skip shot or a steep ante shot. I just think it's a great, well-rounded par 4 woods hole, and I think every course needs one of those par 4s that you need great shots to get the birdie. Even with a phenomenal drive, you're still working for that birdie. For hole number 4, every good course needs a solid ace run. And well, I have played quite a few of those, but I'm gonna have to go with Atoa, the famous cave hole. Now, it is a placebo cave, okay? But you deal with that after you get up there. When you step up to that tee pad, it does give that full resemblance. It's one of the coolest ace runs you will ever do. And overall, it's just a great time, great visual. There's a little danger behind the basket. You can tear up your disc a little bit, but if you hit the ace, it's well worth it. Hole number 5, we're going with Heritage Pines. Now, this was an awesome designed hole, and every course needs a short kind of putter turnover shot through the woods. Now, conveniently, it is the one that I hit my ace on, but that was a shot shape that I was looking for there, and I will give a shout out to Hendo. My local course, Hendo, has a lot of those shots. Definitely would have been, the backup. And a fun fact, while going through this, I learned that a lot of courses have great hole 12s. Hole 12 was very hard to pick one. And hole 5 is the ultimate dud. It's like every course, I went through so many, 60, 70 courses. Now, I will say Red Hawk at Lula has a great hole 5, but it made its way somewhere else on the list. So Heritage Pines is there. Guys, weirdly, just think about it. Think about your local courses. Hole 5s are a struggle. Coming into hole number 6, we are going to the North Cove, and this is at the course River Run. Now, I really like this hole. I love water hazards, and that might be the most difficult hole on the course. You have kind of a tight window off the tee pad. You need to throw something out there. I believe it's about 330-ish feet of water carry, and you need to hold an anhyzer the entire way. Very cool, almost little like island hole. Very awesome tee shot. It is tricky though. It is a hard one, but those kind of tester, longer water carries, absolutely, I'm gonna have one of them on my Dream 18. Hole 7, this one will actually be a sneak peek. This is at a course that has not yet been published on the channel, but it's at Direwolf Disc Golf Course. It is a recent one that I played, and hole 7 was one of the most interesting holes I've ever played. It's a 600 feet through the woods. When you stand on the tee shot, it looks very bleh. It looks like a short putter mid-range, just kind of hyzer shot, and it goes in this little opening in the woods. You think it's gonna be some cluttered, you know, I was very apprehensive, but when you round that corner, it's like a water drainage, almost like an old creek bed, just winding all 700 or 600 feet, whichever one it is, winding downhill. It's so gorgeous, and then finally you make it to the basket. Easily a hole number 7. It's not very often that I play a hole that I feel like I've never played anything like that, and that 100% was that. Hole number 8, we are going to Wisconsin, and we are going to Silver Creek. Now, I don't remember there's 2 courses there. I don't remember which one has the lighthouse hole, but it's a tricky tee shot. You need a long straight, so either if you get a power lace off your drive or your second shot, you round the corner, and there's like a man-made peninsula, this little like square, and the lighthouse is sitting there surrounded by water. It is a beautiful hole, and one that everybody can enjoy. It will be a little difficult to get there, but there's no real danger of going in the water, but the scenery, the cool basket, the pin location, very easy choice for number 8. Coming in for number 9, we have another water carry, and this is also going back to Michigan at a course called Paw Paw. Now, Paw Paw has a love-hate relationship in the Holland area. There is a ton of water holes, and this one, in my opinion, was the best. You're basically on your tee pad, the basket's way out here, out of reach for most people, but you have this little kind of island you have to hit here, so your tee off, you gotta hit this island, and then you gotta hit another two water carries in one hole to get to the basket. I absolutely love playing that hole. It is a bit terrifying, but as long as you regain yourself, it is pretty much just a putter or mid-range throw. Very doable, but adds that wow factor and makes you very nervous. Now, as we enter the back 9, I do want to remind you guys, if you are enjoying the content, please take a second and hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, coming in at hole 10, we have Meyer Broadway South. Big downhill kind of toilet bowl hole. It's like 450 feet, 2 pin locations. Both of them are phenomenal. You gotta have one kind of extreme downhill shot with some danger, not just to throw it out there, whatever happens, happens. Those holes are great, but this one, you have to be hitting your line. It is very easy to avoid the forest, but you have to pay attention, and it's just stunning. It's an absolutely stunning hole from the tee pad looking down. Hole number 11, this is my homer pick. Yes, this is my biased decision. We are going to Whitehall, Michigan. Hole 11 is a difficult, very difficult birdie, but it is there. Slightly uphill, big blind Annie shot. You just absolutely have to rip your disc and trust it. It's still my favorite hole. I've thrown my Valkyrie on that, my old Valkyrie, rest in peace. 100, 200, 300 times on that hole. Those big throw, you have to have confidence, and you can't watch the entire flight. You need one of those on a course, and just throw and listen. Hopefully you hear chains and not trees, but mostly we hear trees. For hole number 12, this one is a no-brainer. We are going to the chicken coop hole at Lula. I believe it's 350 feet, all enclosed in an old chicken coop. Now, the first time I went there, that hole's tricky because that's definitely in my Dream 18, but it needs to be perfectly maintained. And it's not on Lula so much, but people will actually get their discs stuck up in the insulation and they will literally just cut it. And then that causes chaos for everybody. But hole 12, I put that one down right in the beginning. You will never experience a hole like that. I know I never will experience one again. And if for anybody getting there, definitely check it out. It is cool. It's a very cool, and it's hard to get there from the long tee. It's a hard ace run because it's a low ceiling. And it's not one you're gonna forget. Coming in at number 13, I have a wild card for you guys. I don't know why this hole has always stuck in my memory, but we are going to Pipeline Disc Golf Course, I believe in South Carolina, Greenville area maybe. Pipeline Disc Golf Course, hole 13 was just so gorgeous. I will say I did hit it at the perfect lighting, but it's a fun kind of tricky shot. You have water down the whole left side and you want to get a slight turn and then get that left finish, and the putt can be scary. I don't know what it was about that hole, but I've just loved it. I've loved it and thought about it ever since I've played it. And I would proudly put it on my dream 18. Coming in at number 14, we are going back to the North Cove, and that is Boulders. Now this is the hole to empty your bag on. This is the hole that everybody loves. Big, wide open, slightly downhill the entire way. Throw that disc as far as you possibly want and throw as many of them as you want. There's no real risk of losing a disc. This is just a fun one to sit, chat with the boys, maybe wager who can throw a disc farther, just have a good time. Great spot to just sit and have yourself a glass of water. Coming in at hole 15, we have Smash Park in West Michigan. Now, the reason I loved hole 15 there so much is you do have two direct routes. There's a big marsh. If you have the arm for it, there's a small low ceiling opening. You can go for it. You can send it across that marsh and leave yourself a tricky putt. But you can also go around the lake. But it's not just some simple bailout line like you see a lot of, holes that have the split decision. It's tricky. It's wooded. It's a lot harder to get a good score going that route, but it's definitely doable. And I love those good tee pads that you can step up to and you really have to make a decision. For hole 16, we are heading back to the North Cove for a third and final time. This time we are visiting the Gorge. Now this hole is so gorgeous. The river kind of turns and kind of goes right in line with your line of sight. I believe the basket is elevated, and this is kind of the one hole where you can just swing out a big hyzer if you want to. I'm not a big fan of those shot shapes, but it's a blast. It's an absolute blast, and you're tricky. That putt is going to be tricky. It is a very well-deserved birdie if you get it there. I believe it was around the 360-foot range, so nothing too crazy. A lot of people can give it a run and try to get the disc there. For hole 17, this one was a no-brainer. We are going to Red Hawk Disc Golf Course, hole 17 from the longs. Now, this video, I actually played the shorts. When I went through their filming, I did not realize there was a long tee pad, but hole 17 from the longs, this is the difficult one. You need quite a bit of distance to be able to carry that pond on an anhyzer to get down into the woods. But if you can't quite do the water carry and you want to take, the bailout lane, that's not a big landing zone. You really have to be on your game. And I'm sure you guys have seen the reoccurring themes. I love water. I love water hazards. I love water carries. And Red Hawk is so, when you get a good drive and clear all that water, it is so rewarding. Rounding off for hole 18, this is also one that I have not filmed, but it's Solitude Disc Golf Course in Utah. Hole 18, I promise, anyone who's ever been there, you will remember it for the rest of your life. If I recall, it's like 1,300 feet and there's 400 plus feet of elevation loss on that hole. If you get a good rip, you can land to the bottom of the hill and be pin high, 100%. A lot of people can make a throw that long with how downhill this is. Now, I would say, unless you're a regular there, you have about a 50% chance to lose your disc. That is not an exaggeration. If you want to go for it, if you want to play safe, you'll be fine. But if you just want to rip something down that mountain, 50-50. You might find that disc, you're probably going to overturn it or it's going to hyzer and it will be gone forever because it won't seem like it went far, but that disc went 480 feet and you'll never pinpoint where it went into the woods. And not to mention the views from that tee pad. You're overlooking the ski town. Truly, I don't know if I will ever just be a part of a better hole 18. It has nothing to do with its design, everything to do with its location and the experience around it. And that wraps up today's video of building our Dream 18. Now I want to give a huge shout out to all of the subscribers that have been recommending this video for a long time. I would like to say it was an absolute blast to make, but it was a lot of screen time, guys. The archives for tossing plastic are quite huge. Now, if you have any recommendations, if you want to make any substitutions and replace one of my holes for one of yours on my Dream 18, leave it in the comments below. I would love to check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Now it's your turn to go toss some plastic.